Hey guys, what's going on? How you doing today? Today we're going to go over my unbiased first impression of Galaxy's Edge. So, as some of you might know from my Instagram posts and YouTube posts, about a couple weeks ago I got to visit Galaxy's Edge for the very first time, and I got to say it was really cool. It was really immersive. The whole thing was just keeps you in this different world, this different planet that you've never been in before. From the names of the food to the sights and the sounds. The cast members are always in character except for one who managed to break character, which I'll tell you about in this video. Everything was you could tell it was very methodical, and they planned everything out very, very meticulously. And the attention to detail is next to none. It is designed to keep you in this land, to keep you in this world that is apart from Earth. And they did a really good job at that. The land itself is interesting and it's fun on your first time, on your second time, on your third time, on your fourth time, but after that, it starts to get a little bit repetitive. You don't get bored so much, but I found my visits there to be sometimes a little bit shorter and shorter because you kind of do everything. It's not that huge. Once you go to the cantina, once you taste the blue milk, once you go to the couple of the shops, you check out Savvy's workshop, you check out the big pod racer that's in the middle of the whole thing, that's cooking some meat. All of it was really cool and really fun to see, and it's always a bit of a different experience in terms of the people and the cast members. But the place itself, it's always the same, obviously. So after you do it a few times, it kind of feels like, all right, well, I've experienced everything. So what I wish they would have done was to have Batuu and have Galaxy's Edge, but also to incorporate different planets from the prequels and the originals. I would have loved to have seen Hoth. Imagine you go into Batuu and you're like, you know what? All right, let's go to Hoth and let's try some I don't know, some wampa meat or something like that, or maybe some tauntaun sticks. I don't know, whatever. And you go in there and there's fake snow or maybe real snow, and it's cold. And that would push you to buy, some of their jackets or something like that, some Hoth jackets, I don't know. Or you go to Tatooine, and you got the twin suns, and it's hot, it's all sand, it's it's just, there are Tuskens, roaming around. I think that would have been a way cooler experience. You go to Coruscant, and you can go to Palpatine's office, or you could go to the underworld area, where the real scum and villainy is, of the bounty hunters and things like that, just wretched people. I think that would have been a much more immersive experience than just focusing on one aspect of Star Wars, which is just the sequels. You get Rey walking around, Kylo walking around, First Order stormtroopers, which is very cool to see. It's very fun, but as I said, it becomes redundant after a while, and you're like, all right, well, I want to stay in this immersion. It's so cool, and I love Star Wars, but I want to see the other planets too, right? I feel like they could have been much more inclusive with the fact that not everyone is just a sequel. Grew up with the sequels. I grew up with the prequels. I was 9 years old when Episode 9 came out. I was the same age as Anakin. It was unbelievably immersive for me, and I remember going to the theater. I remember seeing Darth Maul and just thinking he's the coolest thing ever. All of this stuff. Right, the originals for me were the first Star Wars I ever saw. So imagine going to Cloud City. Imagine going to Mustafar. Imagine going to Endor or Naboo, and seeing the water. They could have done. I feel like the attention to detail and everything was immaculate and it was amazing, but they could have done so much more by broadening their horizons and taking us to different worlds. And it wouldn't even have been that hard. I understand maybe they had they were constricted for their space of the land, but it could have been as easy as just chopping it up and putting different parts of Star Wars in this confined area that they were limited to. Imagine just, okay, we're done on Batuu, I want to head over to Hoth. I'm going to hop into this transport unit, and you basically just hop into a room, and you know how they do it in amusement parks. Doors close, maybe you get some flashing lights or something, or a window, and you're transported to a different spot, which they have this kind of an idea on the Rise of Resistance ride, which was unbelievably immersive. And that's how I actually got to see it. I got a guest pass through Jamie Costa, who was nice enough to take me on as his guest, because he was he got a media badge there for that. And it was a cool ride. I'm going to get to that later in the video. or maybe it's in its own video. But imagine you get into one of those elevator things and it transports you to this different planet, to Hoth or Tatooine or whatever, Mustafar, let's say, and it's like super hot and there's like fake lava and like imagine that, you know? Probably no fire because that's a liability, but just imagine. Stay away from that little Timmy, no. But Boba, I want to be like Anakin. There could have been so many different opportunities for this, and yeah, I mean, it was great and it was fun. But I'm always thinking of like what other stuff they could have done, and I feel like if they did this, they could have divided the entire land into maybe like 6 different planets. Go to Coruscant, you can go to the Deathstar, you can go to the Emperor's throne room and sit on his chair and take pictures, and like there's just so many things they could have done more with this. And I ask myself, you know, why are they just focusing on the sequel trilogy only? It almost feels like a loss to me. Like it's just like a waste of 6 more popular films that we could have really focused on as well and had them included into all of Star Wars and not just, you know, the sequel trilogy, the last 3. And that's not to say anything bad about the sequels. I've said what I've said about them. We don't need to get on that topic here. But I feel like to expand and really capitalize on the money here, and to bring that immersive experience, they should have done different planets, because then you're bringing in all the different Star Wars fans. I know tons of people who absolutely hate the sequels, and they will refuse to go to Galaxy's Edge on that premise because it's all about the sequels. For me, it's Star Wars, so I'm going to love it and enjoy it regardless. My view on the films is my view on the films, and I feel like I've discussed that in other videos. So I will enjoy the planet because it's cool and it's immersive and it's different and it's Star Wars. At the end of the day, it's still Star Wars, but it didn't really bring in that home feeling of like, damn, I want to stay here all day, all night, 24/7, so I can go all these different planets and experience all the different things that I saw growing up from the comics and the movies and this and that. You know, imagine going to Jabba's palace. Like, there's just, I hope that they'll expand more on this. They'll buy some more land, and maybe this video will get to them or something, and they'll just create like a Lucas world or whatever. I know they wouldn't call it that, but they'll expand on it. So now you can go to Hoth. You can go to... The marketing for this is literally limitless. They can do anything they want. They have the capital for it. So I don't know why they're not doing it. Just, it would be absolutely epic, I think. All in all, the planet is very immersive. It is very fun to go and visit. The attention to detail is next to none. And the toys and the clothes and everything are really, really high quality. I'm going to show you guys my robe maybe in another video. But other than that, man, it was an absolute blast. The food menu, like the names of the food, I forgot what they are, but they're completely different. It's like wampa meat or whatever. It's you know what I mean. It's a cool place, but I feel like they can do so much more if they really just incorporate so much more of Star Wars. And maybe they will one day. Maybe that's their plan, but they wanted to start off with this. Fair enough. Just imagine we go to Coruscant. We get like all those tall skyscrapers and you can go in them, and one of them's a hotel. Possibilities are endless here. So that being said, if you haven't seen Galaxy's Edge, go see it someday if you have the luxury, if you can. You won't be disappointed. It's definitely fun. And if you have seen it, what's your favorite part of it? What's your least favorite part of it? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this unbiased review, and have an awesome rest of your day, and may the Force be with you. See you guys. Thanks.